Hi, you already know you need to talk to your son or daughter about gender issues and sexuality, but knowing and doing are two very different things. Hi, I'm Amy Brooks, author of Be Yourself, a Catholic Journal for Girls, and Be Yourself, a Catholic Journal for Boys, and I have 3 tips that will help you approach topics that are uncomfortable but yet very necessary to talk about with your children. 1, first and foremost, we know from our own growing up, our own experience, and from dealing with teenagers and even preteens, that young people can spot a hypocrite from 100 miles away. So even though when you're going to church and you're dragging your children with you and they're rolling their eyes, it is good that you are doing that. It is good that you are a living example of what it looks like to be a Christian, to be a Catholic, to be someone with virtues, and to live in a way that we know we're striving and stumbling towards sainthood. So our example in our daily living, how we deal with temptation, how we deal with when we make mistakes, how much we embrace the sacrament of confession, and how often we go to the sacraments for grace. Our children see that, and they might be rolling their eyes and they might be mumbling under their breath, but that seed is being planted, and I cannot express to you how important it is. So if you're doing that, great, keep it up. And I encourage you to do a little bit more, to go to confession more, to receive the Eucharist more, and to pray more, and to just ask God to help you be a living example of what it looks like to love the Lord Jesus with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. Second, we need to talk about the S word. I'm not talking about the S word sex. I'm talking about the S word sin. If we wait to talk about sex before we talk about how harmful sin is, then it makes it harder to really convince our children to wait and to abstain. When I was writing the Be Yourself Journal for Girls, I wanted to include Maria Goretti because I thought she would be a great example of purity, but talking about her would maybe be a gentle approach because of the age of those who use the Be Yourself Journal can be as young as 9. But when I looked up St. Maria Goretti, what I came across was actually quite alarming to me, and I want to share that with you. When I read about St. Maria Goretti, what I read was Maria's mother taught her to avoid sin at all costs. So from an early age, she knew what sin was, and she knew she was really supposed to work hard to avoid sin. And I think that's really important that we teach our children that sin will harm the soul. Just like they don't drink bleach. We lock up our bleach because we don't want our kids to poison their bodies. We don't want our children to think, everybody makes mistakes. It's true. No matter how hard we try not to sin, we will still fall. But our effort is really important. And recently I was reading about St. John Bosco and St. Dominic Savio. St. Dominic Savio was a student of St. John Bosco. And St. John Bosco had dreams in it after St. Dominic died. And what he learned from these dreams, one thing he learned is that we really need to teach mortification. And honestly, I had to look this word up. Mortification means to hold back from things that we desire. You know, fasting, even if it's just for 5 minutes, every piece of candy our children want, they can't have it. And we need to teach them to make these small sacrifices. And I think of the children at Fatima and how Our Lady told them, you need to make sacrifices. And Lucia lived a long life, so she learned very young that she had to control her desires. And if we teach our children from a young age to not just give in to every desire they have, it'll be easier to talk about chastity and purity. And we need to, talk about all of these things so that when we when they encounter, no matter what they encounter, a couple of years ago, gender wasn't even an issue, they will know what's right and good and cling to that. And thirdly, I want to assure you that if you are trying to keep your children away from certain groups, or notice a teenager having a friend that you don't think they should really be hanging out with, I want to encourage you to continue on that mission and to stay strong. St. Francis de Sales said to love everyone with a strenuous love based on charity, but form friendships only with those that can share virtues with you. So yes, Jesus told us to love one another. Love one another based on charity. But forming friendships, we are going to pick up, even as adults, we pick up on other people's mannerisms, their habits. So it is really important to be, critical about who we form friendships with, because we will pick up on their habits and we will pick up on their mannerisms. And we want to glorify God. We were created to know him, to love him, and to serve him. And we can serve him joyfully, but we need to remember these things. Thank you very much. I hope to have more videos like this. Please post any questions you have in the comments, and hit subscribe. And remember, the Be Yourself Journal for girls and boys is perfect for the child between the ages of 9 and 14, but is also really good for adults to look at so they know how to have conversations with their children. God bless you. See you next time.